Welcome back, everybody, to this week's edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me again. This is the release date for November 11th, 2022. We're plowing into the holiday season. It's been some crazy times, a lot of things going on. Just had an election that we're still trying to put into the record books. And as I usually tell people, I'm like, oh, there's not much worse for retail businesses I can think of than things like elections, big sporting events, anything that sort of takes attention away from enjoying music, and in this case. So I'm kind of glad to put that mostly behind us and move on with holiday season. We got Black Friday coming up in just 2 weeks, so get ready for that. And we open here at 8 a.m. and I'll have a little more information as we go along there. I don't do major unboxing videos. I feel like that is, for me, it's kind of a waste of time for all of us, I think. But I do like to show you some of the things that I've gotten. So I will probably be highlighting those as we go along. In fact, there may be a few things even today that I'll just whip out and show you that I have already started receiving. So, all right. First note of business before I get to the new releases this week, I just want to give a big rest in peace to the wonderful Mimi Parker, vocalist for this band, Low, also drummer. Low, married couple from Duluth, Minnesota. That's where they're based anyway. 30 years of slowcore music, wonderful, sort of haunting, dark, moody, introspective sorts of quiet music, which I think is a rarity in the modern world that we live in our music today. And she had such a steady kind of voice, and it got even more sort of sure-footed over time. And the last two records that they did, one was called Double Negative, and then this one, Hey What, were two extremely fascinating albums. They were working in the studio with B.J. Burton, producer for Bon Iver, Charlie XCX. He's done some really kind of sort of wild production sort of techniques, a lot of like super compressed things that are intentional, and some people might be like sort of not, they can't handle that change of sound, but it just showed that Low was as a band was constantly pushing themselves in new directions even after 30 years at it, and that's pretty admirable. And this album actually, Hey What, a little more melodic than its predecessor in some ways. And I just realized the other day I had chosen it as my number one album pick of 2021. So I was really kind of on the Low train, as it were, last year. And it's just very depressing that at 55 she succumbed to ovarian cancer. So a shout out to them, and a shout out to the brilliance of Low, and hoping that her husband Alan can continue in some sort of fashion. But it will probably never, obviously, it will never be the same, because her voice combined with his, it's they almost kind of formed a pair of instruments that made their own instrument together when they sang together. So kudos to them, and of course condolences to the family and their children too. So on that note, let's get into the new releases this week. First thing I want to show is a sort of a late arrival from last week that we didn't have at the time, but it's the John Mellencamp Scarecrow box set. There is actually just a single LP edition of this too that has been released, but basically this is newly remixed and newly remastered audio tracks. The box set features some previously unreleased bonus material. This also has his version of Under the Boardwalk. But yeah, I mean, John's kind of seen as the Indiana Springsteen, and this was one of his biggest records. So I'm not sure. Can't remember who actually did the mastering on this, but it probably says here in the fine print somewhere. Anyway, um, so that's hanging around. I don't have a lot of them, but just so you're aware. The big release this week, I would say, hands down, is the new Bruce Springsteen, Only the Strong Survive. And it's an album of cover songs. It was kind of billed as like an album of sort of like Motown and stuff like that. And there is, but there's a bunch of other stuff too. Um, and it's kind of a mix of things. This is the limited edition Sundance Orange vinyl for indie stores where they come up with these names, but he does have a duet here, a couple duets with Sam Moore, Soul Days and I Forgot to Be Your Lover, and other songs. You've probably seen Night Shift floating around already on the internet, but The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore, that's not really a Motown song, but a Walker Brothers song. If you know Scott Walker, I think I've spoken about him before. Also does What Becomes of the Brokenhearted, When She Was My Girl, Someday We'll Be Together, and Hey Western Union Man, an interesting choice. It's three sides of a record. I'm not sure why they didn't just spread it out to four. Five songs on each side, so there's 15 songs here. All right, so you may want to, if you're a Bruce fan, you better get it. All right, let's see. Well, what can be said that hasn't been said about Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2. These are both being reissued and they've been remastered, and I don't think necessarily they've been remixed, but they've been remastered from the original analog tapes. The kind of point of interest here is that Use Your Illusion 1 has a new version of November Rain that basically they put new string parts on instead of the synth strings that were on the original. So it has an orchestra on it now, which I guess, obviously by now I think they can afford it. But anyway, so Guns N' Roses. And the CDs on those, which I should have shown here, they feature, they're double CDs. Here's an example of the Use Your Illusion 2. So you see there's a bunch of bonus tracks on that second disc. And so there is a box set of this, and but it's like $500. So if you're not independently wealthy and you just want to kind of skim the surface with that stuff, there's your sort of chance to do that. Okay, let's see. Next vinyl, Life Moves Pretty Fast, the John Hughes mixtapes. This I've been dying to get, and it's an import, so it's not cheap. It's a double record, but this was actually something that the John Hughes family got involved in, and sort of turned over his, or looked at his diaries and looked at his mixtapes and figured out the songs that, he was really into and what he wanted to use in his films. And so there's a lot of stuff here. And on this double you get, it starts with Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me, OMD's If You Leave, and Oingo Boingo's Weird Science. I think those are probably three of the most iconic songs, followed by Yellow's Oh Yeah, which was used a lot in Ferris Bueller, Thompson Twins, If You Were Here, Lick the Tins, Can't Help Falling in Love, and Kate Bush, This Woman's Work from She's Having a Baby. That's side one. I don't think there's really a dud in the bunch. Other songs here, Psychedelic Furs, Pretty in Pink, Echo and the Bunnymen, Bring on the Dancing Horses, Suzanne Vega and Joe Jackson, Left of Center, Kirsty MacColl's You Just Haven't Earned It Yet, Baby, Brian Ferry's Crazy Love, Rave Ups, Positively Lost Me. I mean, these are like iconic sort of 80s songs, and good ones at that he had very good taste in general. And Weird Science maybe is a little bit of a kind of a fun, like, I don't want to call it a throwaway, But that's more of kind of a fun or funny song. And then there are some songs like This Woman's Work that, really set the tone for that movie. So, yeah. All right. Louis Armstrong. This is Louis wishes you a cool Yule. This is the picture disc version. There's also a regular edition on I think red vinyl. Um, so Louis famously did not have a Christmas record that I'm aware of, but this anyway has sort of a collection of his Christmas songs, and does feature "What a Wonderful World." So I mean, I think they felt like they needed to put that on there because that's what sells Louis Armstrong things. But it's got "Is That You, Santa Claus" on there, and I've got "My Love to Keep Me Warm" with Ella Fitzgerald. Winter Wonderland, Cool Yule, White Christmas, Christmas Night in Harlem. Pretty cool. All right. I think it fills a void. Speaking of Christmas, I showed this album a few weeks ago when it was reissued and remastered. Joni Mitchell, Blue, and the mastering on this was done by Bernie Grundman. And this is actually the RSD Essential version there that just came out. This is pressed on clear vinyl, so it's kind of a collector's piece. It's a couple dollars more than the other version, but yeah, this features the saddest Christmas song ever, River. Also has A Case of You, which are two of her most iconic songs. So if you haven't gotten that, that might be worth looking into. Okay. Speaking of new artists now, or newer, he's not new. Louis Tomlinson of One Direction, and this is his new record, Faith in the Future. We got a couple of these they're on black and red splatter vinyl, but the big thing here is that they include an exclusive signed art print. So if you're looking for Louis signature or autograph, that's what you're gonna do there. Only have a couple of them. Larkin Poe, their new record is called Blood Harmony. They're sort of like bluesy rock sort of stuff. People who like Larkin Poe are really into Larkin Poe, I've noticed, and so they definitely have a rabid sort of young fan base going, and sort of guys who like listening to, I say guys, who like listening to sort of like the classic rock kind of stuff too. LS Dunes. This is a spin-off of some guys from My Chemical Romance, and it's kind of an interesting album cover. I don't know what this sounds like yet, I'll be quite honest. Frank Iero, I think that's how you say his name. Limited edition packaging and orange crush vinyl. There's also a CD edition of this. There are a couple different ones, but the CD sort of looks like this, and some of them come with this little sew-on patch. Oh, this is not an iron-on. I'm having a rough day, people. Give me a break. Oh gosh, it's so much. It's always so much. All right, K-Flay. Kind of popular indie pop sort of, I say indie, artist. And this is a collection of 2 EPs that she did, Inside Voices and Outside Voices. So K-Flay stuff, sometimes it's a little hard to find on vinyl in stores, but there you go. Billy Idol, the Cage EP. This features Cage, Running from the Ghost, Rebel Like You, and Miss Nobody. This actually came out maybe like a month ago on CD, 2 months ago. Finally out on vinyl. Okay. Sports Team, their new release, Gulp. Sports Team's indie rock band. I think they're British. Die cut sleeve. It's kind of a cool sleeve. Let's see. It reminds me a little bit of like Gang of Four. Visually, maybe that was the point. I don't know. Sort of like their album Entertainment. Delta Spirit, right? And this is their new album, One is One. These guys have been at it for a long time and just keep churning out quality product. The indie exclusive color variant on that one. Oh, let's see. Billy Joe Shaver, a tribute to Billy Joe Shaver. This is kind of an interesting grouping of artists. You've got Willie Nelson, Ryan Bingham with Nikki Lane, Rodney Crowell, Miranda Lambert, Edie Brickell, Nathaniel Rateliff, George Strait, Amanda Shire, Steve Earle, Margot Price, and Allison Russell. So if you are into like kind of like I'd say no, it's not really outlaw country, but real country music, that might be something that you'd be wanting to check out. Okay, and you will know us by the Trail of Dead. This is an album that came out a couple months ago. It's number 11, Bleed Here Now, and this is the indie retail exclusive Whirlpool colored vinyl with quadraphonic sound. Features guest appearances by Amanda Palmer and Britt Daniel of Spoon. So, interesting mix. There you go, Trail of Dead fans. Frankie and the Witch Fingers. This is a reissue of their album People Eating Monsters. I can never get this right. People Eating Monsters Eating People. Great psychedelic cover. This is the special colored vinyl. Cosmic Snot is the color variant there. You see that. And yeah, they're sort of like psych rock, I guess. I mean, I guess that's where I would put them. Their stuff has been on record store days in the past, and it's sold pretty well. All right, leaning a little more jazz here. I gotta create a little more room. Sorry, guys. Bill Frisell, his new album, uh, Four Guys. Bill with Gregory Tardy, Jonathan Blake, and Gerald Clayton. Bill always does super quality work. This is on Blue Note. Looks like he's redoing some of his old songs and then some new stuff because it does feature Good Dog, Happy Man, which is one of his albums. Another Blue Note this week is Charlie Hunter's Bing Bing Bing. This is an album from 1995 that I'm not sure it had been on vinyl before. If it had, it was very limited. Mastered from analog tapes, original tapes by Kevin Gray at Coherent. This is part of the Blue Note Classic series. It's cool that they're doing some records that are a little more down the line as far as timeline and not just everything from the 60s and late 50s. So good label, good pressings. Verve has started to do these Verve by requests. These are made at Third Man. I didn't get very many of these, so I don't know if I'll have them around after today. But Alice Coltrane, this is her reissue of Pita the El Daoud, or is it Ta the El Daoud? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, Alice is quite the icon, and that's a really interesting album. Hard to get. Another one, Roy Brooks, Beat. This is another sort of Third Man thing. If I don't have more of these right away, I have more on order, so hopefully more show up soon. It looked like the distributors were shorted or ran out of them quickly. Missy Elliott's under construction. It's about time. Missy is incredible, has been incredible for a long time as a rapper. Virginia Beach's own. She deserves a lot more credit. And this is the album that features Work It, which I think a lot of people know that. Gossip Folks is another one. Yeah, it also has the Work It remix at the end with 50 Cent, in case you want to hear that. Oh, one of the best Queen records, I think, Queen Innuendo. This was the last record that they made before Freddie Mercury, or while Freddie Mercury was dying of AIDS. This actually is half speed mastered. It's a double vinyl. It features I'm Going Slightly Mad. Headlong was the first single. These Are the Days of Our Lives, great song. And of course, The Show Must Go On. For a late period Queen album, I think they, and of course the title track is amazing. I think they really kind of rose to the occasion and came back with something really strong after some okay records. All right, let's see. World Party, a reissue of Egyptology. I've been waiting for this for a little while. This is probably my favorite World Party album. Um, it's a little darker in some ways than some of his others, but I listened to this album and I think, oh, it's the perfect marriage of the Stones and the Beatles. Like that's sort of where Carl Wallinger, sort of his stuff kind of came from. But this actually is the RSD indie exclusive version. This is on blue and gold vinyl. It includes some bonus live tracks from New York in '97, and it includes the song "She's the One," which, well, let's see, Robbie Williams took that song and made kind of a hit out of it in the UK, and I think it was featured in movies, but it's a great song. Very Beatles-ish kind of song. And then there's a regular edition of it too for a few dollars less if you don't want to spend quite that much on it. There's some more RSD essentials too that are just kind of cool, sort of retro pieces, very limited stuff. T-Bone Walker's Stormy Monday Blues. This is the RSD essential. This is done by Sun Records, which I guess they have sort of this deal going with RSD right now. They did the Chris Isaak records, which were originally Warner Records. Here's another one, Mickey Murray, and it's called Shout Bamalama, and other super soul songs. And this is a rather hard to get album originally, I think, especially in like good condition. So features Shout Bamalama, Lonely Room, Are You Ready, Got You on My Mind. Yeah, How Many Breaks Can One Heart Take? And another one is Johnny Adams, South Side of Soul Street. And these are kind of great sort of retro records that are, again, they're pretty hard to get. Features songs Georgia Morning Dew, I've got Too Much to Lose, Proud Woman, You Make a New Man Out of Me, In a Moment of Weakness. You get the picture. All right. Bad Religion, How Could Hell Be Any Worse? This is a reissue of one of their classic records. Limited edition color vinyl. I love how it's got a picture of, I think it's Los Angeles on the cover is what it looks like. Yeah, engineered by Jim Mankey, interesting, on Epitaph Records. So if you're a Bad Religion fan, let's see, there were a couple of 10 inches that came out this week. Saves the Day, Stay What You Are. Yeah, and this is a double 10-inch record. Features like the original 11 tracks from the first album, this album. There's the live version of This Is Not an Exit on there. And then Greg Lake, I Believe in Father Christmas, a 10-inch of that. It's a 4-track EP. Kind of cool. I mean, I do like that song. That's a good song. And let's see. Some other CDs, things that maybe didn't come in. Actually, I think this came out last week on vinyl, was the Jonathan Richman CD of Back in Your Life. That came out. Christine and the Queens. I hesitate to pronounce the French title of this record. Red Car, Les Adorable Etoiles, I guess. I don't know. I'm not French. Ride. So cool. Ride did 3 reissues this week. The Ride EPs, which is 4 EPs on one CD. The album Going Blank Again and Nowhere. It's a shoegaze classic. all pretty reasonable on CD, $16, $17. So not bad. There are vinyl, I think, of these coming as well, but they aren't out yet. Or we haven't gotten them yet. And Morris Day, last call. Morris Day, give him props. Prince, Prince's estate tried to prevent him from using his name on things recently, which is ridiculous because it's his name. But yeah, this is a new CD. Features duets with Snoop Dogg, Tech Nine, Flo Rida, Big Daddy Kane, Daddy O, and Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top fame. They all take part. So that's most of the new releases for the week. Now, I was going to show you a few record store day things too, that are sort of trickling in. Jimi Hendrix, Burning Desire. This is, I think this may have been out before actually, but this is pressed on audiophile grade vinyl at QRP on translucent orange and red vinyl. QRP being quality record. Let's see, 1969 and 70 studio mixes mixed by Eddie Kramer. So it's an official bootleg, as it were. Not the biggest track on here. It starts with Isabella. Features Villanova Junction Blues. So another sort of classic thing here. Edgar Froese and Aqua is the name of this album. Edgar being Tangerine Dream leader, and this is an essential masterpiece recorded for progressive electronic fans. This 2005 pristine edition of his first solo album, originally released in 1974, includes a bonus track never released on vinyl. So it's kind of a cool, like, aqua blue, purple kind of color thing there. Skipping around here, Green Jelly. And this is Music to Insult Your Intelligence by. And yeah, features Sugar and Spice, Get Filter Fish, Rooster Jowls, Albert Fish, Liverwurst. I mean, these guys are crazy. If you like Green Jelly, you know what I'm talking about. Going back a little bit here too, not that far. Well, I don't know. I don't know when that Green Jelly came out. Fountains of Wayne, Traffic and Weather. I mean, I guess the thing that I should say about this is R.I.P. Adam Schlesinger, who died of complications from COVID at the beginning of the pandemic almost 3 years ago now. Well, it was over 2. And I believe this was the last Fountains of Wayne record that came out. This is the first time on vinyl, 2007. It's actually includes the printed inner sleeve with lyrics, limited to 4,000. Orange with black streaks is what it says. So I guess it looks like Halloween. Willie Nelson live at Budokan. Let's see, you get kind of a picture of this. This is I think he did this in '84 in Tokyo, and he does things like, it starts with Whiskey River, Mona Lisa, Good Hearted Woman, Down Yonder, If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Time, Help Me Make It Through the Night, Me and Bobby McGee. You get the picture. Ends with Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line. He does On the Road Again, Always on My Mind. So yeah, that should be a pretty cool one. So this, I always get the name wrong here. I think it's Dream Widow. Is it Dream Widow? Yes. I want to say Dream Window. This is Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters, and it's the soundtrack to their horror film that they put out. This is going to be probably pretty limited. I wouldn't see it around for very long. But if you want to hear Foo Fighters kind of doing stuff that's a little heavier, there's still a sense of humor. They've got a track called Come All Ye Unfaithful. Come All Ye Unfaithful. March of the Insane. Well, I think you kind of get the idea. Last thing I'm going to show right now, David Bowie, the EP. It's just simply titled EP. This is actually album outtakes and remixes from his album The Next Day, which was the one that came out just before Black Star. It does feature the Love Is Lost remix by James Murphy from LCD Sound System, the Hello Steve Reich mix. It's the first time on vinyl for this EP. It's cool because it's got 7 tracks on it, so it's a little bit more than just a regular, kind of throwaway thing or some live stuff. It does feature the tracks Atomica and Like a Rocket Man, Born in a UFO. All right. I think that's all for today, guys. Thank you for joining me again. Look, I'm hitting about 30 minutes again. I just cannot get these to be shorter. And there's more stuff all the time, so I don't know. If it's too much, start telling me. Say like, you talk too long. Make these shorter. Although some people will be like, I could watch these all day and just so. But I try to squeeze them in as much as possible. All right. Next week is a huge week, November 18th. We have Neil Young and Crazy Horse, the Rick Rubin album. We'll have Jimi Hendrix Live, Wyatt's Blood, the Michael Jackson Thriller, King Gizzard. You've probably already seen, some people are already reviewing that Thriller reissue online. And, I just think it's funny how they're all sort of, not all of them, but some are really into it after they practically destroyed the company that's making it. So go figure. You do what you did. You do what you do you. But everyone sort of has an opinion. I see a lot of opinions about the Steely Dan Can't Buy a Thrill going around, and it seems to be getting good response. Overall, the response to Beatles Revolver was pretty good. There are some purists that are like, I can't listen to it any other way. It has to be this way or not at all. And I don't know what to say to you. Find a therapist. I don't know. Anyway, that's my take. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the flip side. All right. Take it easy. Peace.